Well, thank you, Chamberlain. We're changing gears now. We're talking about the postponement of the elections. INEC says we're 98% ready, or was it 98 or 95%? The figure now is in controversy. But they're talking about the card readers. We've configured about 98 or 95% of the card readers. And we're going to still be taking reactions on how other political parties are handling it. I have with me in the studio Mr. Tanko Yunusa, who is the presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you, Mokwe, and nice seeing you again.
It's good to see you as well.
Quite a long time.
Have you gotten over this postponement of the elections by INEC?
Well, not really, but I just come to terms with it. I call it a cannibalistic drama that is tantamount to destroying the electoral process and our heart in democracy.
I have to laugh at that one. What did you say again?
I said I call it the cannibalistic drama.
Cannibalistic?
Yes, that is tantamount to destroying our electoral process.
I might need to get a dictionary for that one. But, you know, speaking more directly to it
yes,
now,
exactly.
You have listened to the reasons for the postponement.
Yes.
You're listening to INEC's preparations. You've
yes.
seen their points, the things that they need to do to ensure and boost confidence in the people.
Yes.
That come Saturday this week, they're going to be ready for the polls.
Yes.
Are you reassured that INEC took the best decision with the circumstances that they faced last week, Friday?
I want to believe so. You know, I went through this particular road while I was the IPAC chairman.
Okay.
And so I was the IPAC chairman then, and I had an information. I thought it was not true, you know, that about 15 trucks of sensitive materials were missing long before the election.
Missing?
Yeah, they were missing. And this information came from a very strong source. Mm-hmm. As a chairman, I couldn't just go to the street with it. So I kind of calmed down, trying to find out exactly really what went wrong. And behold, then the National Security Advisor started making this particular statement about postponement of election.
In 2015?
Yes, 2015.
Okay.
And then before you knew it, we had a meeting. I was a member of this National Peace Committee as at that time. I took it with a stunned, you know, feeling that how can such a situation happen? But it did happen.
And then materials were actually missing?
Yeah, they were, because if they weren't, the material did not get to the destination in which they were expected. So INEC had to make a quick recovery of these materials.
Did INEC confirm that indeed 15
No,
trucks
of course. These are, I wouldn't even be saying this now if not that it was 2015.
Yes.
So nobody will tell you that they were missing. But, you know, these are source that comes in to give you, you know, at the end of every rumor, you always find a tool to find out whether there was a truth about it. So, and then when it happened, it was like, I was told this thing. I couldn't come out for an interview.
Because we were told then that the reason for the postponement was security.
Well, of course, everybody will tell you one story or the other. Mm-hmm. Now, here we are, the same road. Then what do you call it? The AGF made a mentioning of postponement of election in Zamfara State. Mm-hmm.
He was very specific. He was talking about governorship elections.
Exactly.
Not presidential
Exactly.
elections.
I agree with you totally.
Yes.
That's why I even mentioned it.
Yes.
But then you can see it has its own linkages. Because when the government, the institution of a government started throwing ideas into people's head, it gives you a room to start thinking there may be some, because the rumors have already been on the air that there must be maybe a postponement. And as at 1 a.m., I did not sleep. I was still monitoring. And then the rumors started coming in that there may be a postponement. I felt it can't happen. Then all of a sudden, I saw the confirmation, then an invitation for a meeting the next day. So I didn't make any statement or ask anybody. I said I wanted to hear from the INEC chairman. Mm-hmm. And then when he started giving us his reasons, as at that time, Kano has gotten its materials. Some other states have gotten their materials. Mm-hmm. So the idea was that they were ready. They were ready to go. Unfortunately, things went wrong. And then he said materials did not get to some certain areas. And if you want to have a one-off election, you can't stagger this election. But the idea was that some states will be having the election, and then some will be, be staggered to another period in time. And the commission said no. It's better for us to have a one-off election because the result of the aftermath of staggering the election will be more devastating than not having the election.
So do you agree with them now?
In that respect,
with
I do. With
benefit of hindsight now?
I do. But I wasn't happy, seriously, that it has to get that late for us to have that kind of situation. And I asked a question. I said, I hope, Mr. Chairman, at the consultative meeting, I said, I hope Mr. Chairman has an intelligence unit attached to him. because the stakes are high, very, very high. Had it been that some of our, let me go back a little bit. You see, Nigerians, especially those of us in power, always feel anytime they take a decision that it gives them an advantage, they are comfortable with it. They're not thinking about the country first. They always think about what will happen to them immediately. And that's the reason why.
That is very interesting because from what I can see, or what people can see, the APC doesn't seem to be happy about this.
Yes, that is what is more concerned about it.
And they're making a lot of, making a lot of allegations,
exactly,
against INEC, saying that they're working in cahoots with the opposition PDP.
I'm even more disturbed with the way in which they were, visibly angry about the postponement of the election. And I thought Mr. President said he was comfortable and is confident that he was going to win the election and all. But it seems those who are handling the electioneering process of Mr. President are not that comfortable. That's what it means. So when it happened, it was like, okay, what do we do? INEC should have this particular intelligence unit to attach to the office of the chairman, because if they have listened to some of the things that we have said before, the sequence of election, for example, if we have started from the lower elections, state assembly and all, we will have gravitated to the presidential election. All of these mistakes will have been taken care of. It was yesterday while I was on NTA that I discovered from the statement made by the Kaduna State officer of INEC, saying that some materials meant for other states were discovered in Kaduna. So you see, had it been that the election has really taken off, the people who need those materials will have been in a difficulty. And probably their timing will have been, deferred for a very long time. And then the poor electorate will have been suffering on the queue, waiting. So it has happened, and then now it's give them room to make corrections. So that they can make correction and put everything in the right place so that Nigerians can have a credible election. This is key to our democratic process.
Some people have recommended that we unbundle INEC. They think that the amount of logistics that INEC has to handle is way too expensive, and it's also such a logistical nightmare for anybody who's got to plan this.
Exactly.
Would you, as a candidate, be confident if INEC is unbundled and different agencies or different states have to handle, say, the presidential election, for instance?
No, if INEC is unbundled, there will be a lot of relief even on the staff. There are so much work to be done. And I have also supported the position of the waste report long even before now. You
support the unbundling of INEC?
Yes, I do. That INEC should be divided into three. First, the delineation, and then the delineation of INEC, at least should be, of the constituency, should be handled by the National Population Commission and probably Bureau of Statistics. They have the data and all to actually give the issue of delineation. And secondly, which is much important, is as regard to the issue of enforcement of our laws. INEC has to be saddled with responsibility of sometimes giving power to arrest and prosecute and all of those ones. It's too much for them to handle. They have more than any kind of litigation that any institution has at the moment now to deal with. Then we will have the electioneering commission who deals specifically with elections, and that will reduce so much level of work on them and make it more effective. But aside from that, I am more concerned at actually the constitution of the people that handle the offices in INEC, commissioners, even the chairman himself, and all other staffs. Importantly, we need to have an electoral umpire that is devoid of partisanship in any way, in terms of appointment and the rest of it. And once you appoint somebody, if not that we are lucky within the 2 sessions we have, we've had people who are trying to append credibility to their leadership. We will have had a very bad situation on our hand. Each of the electoral chairmen have shown that they are interested in having a credible, free and fair election. Of course, you can accuse them one front and back and all, but their target is to ensure that they have credible election. But it's not only about the head. What about the supporting staffs? Some of the members may come from a political party or political party lineage and believe in the cause of one political party and another. And at the end of it all, while they are supposed to perform their duty, some of them may stylishly be sabotaging the process. So we need to have a system where appointing anybody into INEC will have been shown persons with impeccable character, integrity, and non-partisan person. It may be difficult, but we can still find them. The processes of appointment of the INEC chairman, which was positioned by a Ways report, said that we will have 3 persons published, even published the requirement for anybody who wants to be INEC chairman, and at the end of it all, 1 or 3 of them will be shortlisted, and then 1 will be unpicked. The truth about it is that when the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or anybody in position of power be the one that appoints the person who chairs an electoral commission, it becomes a problem, because it's either he who pay the piper dictate the tunes. This is the truth about it. So there must be a way in which we need to go back to the drawing board and ensure that we have credible people who are ready, who are not partisan in any way, and who cannot be associated with any kind of gravitating from how did they even become, somebody made somebody to become somebody.
Let me ask you this final question. You have been a member of the Peace Committee before now, and now you see that, you will see that some violence has started in some states. And we also see that the rhetoric is quite strong. How would you wade in as a member of the Peace Committee in the face of elections coming up in a couple of days, and the kind of back and forth we're beginning to get, especially among the major political candidates?
Interestingly, the Peace Committee has a modus operandi in which it carries out its duties. And I must say that people found favor into the leadership of Abdulsalam Abubakar and Reverend Martin Skuka, and then other members of the Peace Committee. Yes, Matthew Kuka, and including some of the members of the committee. In the 2015, what we did was that in every issue that when we meet the individuals face to face, they find it comforting to actually tell us exactly what is burning in their hearts. And when they pour out all of this, we take that position and listen to the other person. I remember with nostalgia, there was a time in which we met with the present president, who has to travel from another part of the country. He came to the meeting at 8 a.m., even earlier than some of us at the Peace Committee. And then he made mention of some of the things that he has in his mind. And then President Goodluck Jonathan also stated some things. And then we went back into the drawing board and then sit down and talked about how we can ameliorate these particular concerns. And we were successful. But as it is now, the first meeting that held when we signed the peace accord, the Peace Committee noticed that it is not taking the desired effect that they wanted. So they have to call for a second signing. And now here, I think we need to caution some of our leaders who have been making some inflammatory statements, who is tantamount to actually destroying this democracy that we really, really struggled for, to be cautioned that Nigeria is first. Electioneering and me disagreeing with you does not mean that I hate you. But when I make a position, you make a position. The best out of the position that we would put into the public domain should be the one that will be taken for the interest of the Nigerian people. As they say in democracy, of course, they say there's no permanent enemy but permanent interest. Today we may disagree, become arch rival or no. Tomorrow you will see us throwing banters. And that is the reason why it is important that Nigerians who are out to cast their vote should look deeply and select people who will deliver and make life comfortable for Nigeria and Nigerians. Not for them to go and start breaking their heads on the street and thinking that probably they are doing something good.
Well,
they will not even recognize you.
Mr. Yunus, I think it's a fine place to leave it. You have said Nigeria first, and I hope that people will put that at the back of their minds as they go to the polls. Thank you for coming on Sunrise
Daily. Thank you very much for having me.
He is the presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party. It's back to you, Chamberlain.